Welcome back to another episode of Aunt and Andrew, where family's everything.
Until it's not. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Aunt.
Ah,
I'm in maroon today.
oh, that's good. I'm in
I
orange.
wanted to match Louie's face when they were meeting.
Louie. I think Louie is almost too self-aware.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He is so aware of everything that there is not a natural moment on the man.
I hope you give space for the fact that he is a complete fraud and that he's sitting there the whole time, like internally shaking in his boots to be like, when are they going to uncover all the shit about me?
Yeah,
Because
probably.
Teresa's so ruthless, but she's kind of like Vicky in the sense that like she'll go after everyone else's like shaky stories,
Yeah,
but
but
her
don't come
own.
at her.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
come at
yeah.
hers. No, she'll defend it. Like it doesn't matter how
Right.
guilty she looks. Like she still denies. Watch What Happens Live last night. She said to, did you watch it with her?
Yeah, I saw some of it because
When they
there was
said,
a
what do you
Celtic
regret?
scam.
Or would you rather hang out with Melissa or say that you were responsible for Strippergate? And she goes, neither.
There. But they
Teresa.
asked her, would she rather make up with Melissa or be married to Joe Giudice again? And she said Joe Giudice.
Yeah, no, totally. But what I'm thinking more is that like,
She hates
you
Melissa.
you
It's to the
knew
core
what
of her.
Kim D was doing, Teresa, when Angelo rolled up on you two with your hair rollers in 4 hours before the fashion show. You could have texted your
Posh.
sister-in-law then, and you could have said, hey, I just want to let you know I'm getting ready for the show. And some random guys here that Kim D invited and just
I love
asked
that
me if
episode.
you were a stripper
I can
or that
hear
used to
him.
dance for me. So my point is that like I just don't know what to believe. And I have to say that like I believe Teresa. I'm a big Teresa fan. Louie for me,
I
just a
want to
little
tell you,
messy.
I'm going to tell you, I was thinking especially after Watch What Happens Live, when she said she'd rather be married to Joe Giudice again than talk to Melissa ever again. And I thought to myself, Joe Giudice was the right husband for Teresa at that time in her life.
Totally.
Because when you see their relationship, if you see an old show, he's like, Tree, like he was kind of called, yeah, but he kind of,
Wow.
yeah, but he kind of called her out on a lot of her nonsense.
Oh, beyond. Whereas I think
Right.
Louie, see
But
the
no,
thing
no,
about
no. Let
Louie,
me
I
finish. Let
understand.
me finish. Okay. Joe was the right husband for Teresa at that phase of her life.
Yeah.
Louis is the right husband, but at this phase of her life, because she's living in a parallel universe and he's there out on Mars with her. Teresa today, the incarnation of Teresa, would not be good with Giudice because he'd be like, Trey, oh my God, who cares? Who cares about the stuff? Where Louis is all like into all of this superficial BS.
Yeah, it's hard to understand. They're so different that I just don't understand. I have a lot of questions for Teresa, but I'm sure she has a lot for herself. So, anywho, where are we getting
Let's start.
started?
Okay, I want to start with Paulie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, boy, Paulie put her in her place.
Because he didn't want to deal with the stupid conversation on camera. And I think they've had this conversation. And I also think that he wasn't playing with her little, I'm going to play in the sandbox for the TV show right now. He kind of was shutting her down. Like he thought it was funny. He's like,
But I
oh,
do think there
okay.
was some validity to the fact she was dumped on by Frank. I mean, Frank did dump on her. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And then the other doctor, David, he kept on promising her a rose garden and it wasn't happening. And I don't know. I'm telling you, this Paulie does not want to be married to anyone.
I disagree. I think
I
that
do.
Frank,
Listen, he's not.
no, I'm
I
telling you,
totally.
you just had your chance. Now I'm telling you why I disagree. You already had your chance to tell me
Okay.
why.
All right. Told you go,
You
Louis.
can rebuttal my disagreement after
Okay.
if you want to. Thank you, listeners. We're just teaching Aunt proper etiquette when it comes to speaking. Comment down below if you think that she interrupts me too much or vice versa. Because I'm very much aware.
Oh,
So,
nobody wants to hear it. Go
anywho,
ahead.
I think that Frank cheated on her. Frank
Right.
was dishonest, that whole thing. David, I think in a way, manipulated her and not lied to her, but basically like fooled her to think that like the engagement was coming, the marriage was coming, and it never came.
Right.
So I think that what Dolores is approaching this is as someone who's been,
Manipulated.
and or as Margaret would say about Danielle Staub, rode and ridden hard. She's been through through the oven and back again. And I think that
This ain't
Paulie,
her first rodeo.
it's not. And I think Paulie, though, I have a feeling that she's meeting him with a lot of skepticism because of her past, but he's kind of putting it straight out there to her. And I don't think she's got anything to worry about. And I think for her, that's odd. Like, it's odd that she actually is with a stand-up guy that's telling her the truth. Like,
well,
because,
he said to her, listen, this is how I am. If you're not here with me at this, then you might as well go.
and I love that. I thought it was straight up. And I think that for her, I mean, the one thing that I'm grateful for is that Paulie has clearly figured out pretty quickly that certain conversations have to be had for cameras.
Yeah.
And he didn't blow off the handle there, which, like, I do believe that was a little bit of a sabotage. I don't think she said, hey, Paulie, we're going to talk about how you haven't gotten divorced yet and how I want a ring on camera. And I think for him, he's like, we talked about, like, I feel like he's thinking in his mind, oh God, now she's doing it for the cameras. We talked about that 3 days ago. We already crossed that bridge. Like I think that he kind of saw it coming when she started to go down that rabbit hole. And I just think that he's being honest. And I think the difference is that she's not used to someone being so transparent with her.
Well, and not only that, but Gorga was right about one thing.
Yeah.
Dolores does not want to flip houses. Dolores wants to drive around, have an easy life in her Rolls Royce.
Oh, yeah.
And relax. She does not. Him saying that we're going to get into flipping houses, I'm thinking to myself, well, I thought you have this big, huge business. Why do you want to get, I mean, flipping houses isn't easy. That's hard. Yeah, most people don't make even money flipping houses. And so I'm thinking she flipped a house with David. She did it with Frank. Now
no, she and Frank used to do it together.
Yeah, that's
David's
what I'm saying.
was his own house. I think that
but she flipped it for him. She did it over for him.
I think that unfortunately Dolores has always needed to work, and she's always needed to,
yeah, because she has to take care of herself
and her kids, and money, and divorces take time. And Frank seems like he's definitely a different version today than he was back then. And David was not giving her money more than just paying for certain things from time to time. And so I think for Dolores, I think Gorga's absolutely right. But if I was Gorga, what I would say to Paulie would be, listen, I've known her since I was this age.
5 years old,
as someone who's not her partner, just someone who's known her for years.
Friend, right.
I've always thought that Dolores is going to be the most happy when she's not working. I know that she hasn't really had that luxury with the guys she's been with and her story, but you should maybe ask her about it, because I think it's sometimes a front that she wants to work a lot. She really doesn't want to deep down.
Yeah, probably not.
But they don't want to actually help each other. They just
she doesn't care about the big
shit.
ring. She doesn't care about the big dress. She doesn't want a big wedding. She just wants to get married. Of course she does. Of course she does. That's the funny part. You know what I mean? But I still, you want to do predictions on when Paulie will get a divorce? I say by 2027, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Before the great reset of 2030,
I'll be honest with you, with all the stuff going on in this show, I don't care about Paulie getting divorced.
No, but I thought it was an interesting thing. I want to tell you, I could care less about Marge and her driving the golf cart. I could have cared less about that whole entire scene. Everything about it was ridiculous, except we found out the second that Rachel got out of the Boujie brunch, she called Marge. Which tells you everything. That's what we found out. What do you mean?
They all do that. You don't be a fool.
No.
I host a show every single week. We know that if Teresa left a bad thing, she'd call Jennifer. If Jennifer left a bad thing, she'd call Teresa.
Yeah, but now it's Rachel. But now it's Rachel calling Marge. That's a different alliance we didn't have before.
What do you mean? Melissa and Marge have controlled anyone that's not with Teresa for years.
Right. I understand that. But now we have Rachel is going straight to Marge, is what I'm saying.
She's the only one that wasn't there.
Yes, I know, but she went straight to her anyways. That needs to be highlighted.
Why?
That's what I think. Well, because that's all I took out of that whole entire golf soiree.
Oh, I took out of it that if Margaret was in the back and Dolores was driving, it would have been a fucking massive big deal that we would have had to hear for the rest of the season
Oh
about how
yeah,
she was
totally.
texting and driving a golf cart, and it probably hurt Marge's neck or it made her have PTSD about Jan's death.
Oh, thank God we didn't hear about Jan this week. Have you ever played golf?
Yeah, of course. I have clubs in my car.
Oh, you do? Have
Yeah.
you ever done that with a tee?
What do you mean?
What
With the
the
tea?
guys did?
I wasn't really paying attention to what they
Oh,
were doing with the
they
golf.
put a tee in their butt cheeks and they shot the ball off of it.
That's I don't I kind of zone out when the guys come on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good idea. But they were razzing Paulie on getting married. They were. Okay. I want to go straight to New York Fashion Week.
Well, let's
Okay.
just first say Jackie and Teresa.
Oh
I'm here
no,
for it. I'm here
I'm
for it.
here. Oh yeah, that's right. Jackie and
I
Teresa.
think TBD. I don't really want to talk about it too much because I think there's more to come. We
No,
have
I
to do
think there's a
more.
lot more to come. And I loved when Fessler and Jennifer were together too. Jennifer Aydin and Fessler. I love that. I like they got the big margarita with the upside down Grand Marniers in there in the whole bit. And I thought they were having a good time. But I did want to say that we're seeing not a lot of Jennifer Aydin so far. And this was episode 6. And we still haven't seen that much of her. And I do believe they're punishing her a little bit.
Maybe, but I also have to say that based on what we know happens in the season, she might be so dominant towards the end of like who's causing all the trouble in the middle of everything that they're trying to just even
Perhaps.
out some of the maybe boring times right
Maybe, but
now.
she's her interaction, her talking heads and everything are very, very minimal so far this season. Even in this, would she have one little scene with the margaritas? Did we see her at any other time? Except like an opening scene, there was something of her.
No, we haven't. But you never, I
Yeah.
don't know. Don't put
Yeah,
too
we
too
haven't.
much into
I'm
it.
just saying that's one. Okay, I want to go to. Okay, I'm all about Jackie and Teresa. Fine with me. I think Jackie's nicer with Teresa than she's ever been with Melissa or
Yeah,
Marge.
totally.
Yeah, totally. I do want to go to New York Fashion Week. First of all, if I ever, ever have the pleasure of showing in New York Fashion Week, and if I ever, ever have the privilege of inviting you, please go to a real florist to get me flowers, okay, for afterwards. And don't go pick them up at ShopRite and you don't even have the cellophane removed and redone because the husband and the kid arrived and I swear the price tags were still on them.
Who brings someone like I also have to say that like unless a kid's in like a dance recital or a gymnastics meet, who the hell wants to receive flowers at the event? Send them. Like send them.
It was just like they were so bougie. The bougie, the bougie fashion show had the bougiest flowers I've ever seen anybody get. It was so bad. And I'm gonna tell you, Danielle, you're out there. You're not Ralph Lauren. I hate to tell you,
Well, I'm just
you're
over
not
these like
Bagley Mishka.
bootleg. I'm over these like bootleg New York Fashion Week
Fashion Week.
shows.
I
Like
know.
they're a dime a dozen. They're off brand. It's like going and getting like a Berkeley and Jensen case of water from BJ's instead of Aquafina. Okay, it's like I'm so
I
over
was
this
so
because
over it.
they
So
have
over it.
like this isn't like the tents. This isn't like Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week.
This
Like
was like in the back of some pop-up.
yeah, that's why when
Yeah.
people watched The
Yeah.
Hills back in the day,
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
was one of those things where like Kelly Catrone, People's Revolution, like really planned the shows. Like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Lauren
Yeah.
Conrad and Whitney Port worked for Teen Vogue, they really got into those parties. It was not for the show per se.
I know.
So
I
it set a
know.
standard with my generation and anyone that's watched TV for years that we don't believe this. I mean, we believe the thing is that there's probably a lot of people that don't believe it's really New York Fashion Week if they've seen it. It is, unfortunately, but it's not the actual like premier venue of New York Fashion Week, nor like any of where like the who's who is.
No, let's just say it's not even really what she did New York Fashion Week. It was really a random show like off Broadway that they had the same week as New York Fashion Week and called it New York Fashion Week, but it was really a dance recital with a few clothes.
I mean, I also don't 100% believe that it wasn't even just created for the show
Oh, I'm
because
not
I
either.
have been a part of a fake fashion show for reality television in
Television.
2012 on Eden's World when we showed Eden's couture line.
Right.
And it was so fake, it wasn't
Right.
even funny.
Right.
Everything from like the models to the guests to the fact that the press didn't show up, which was the whole arc of my, storyline that day was
Yeah.
that the press didn't show up. Well, why would the
Right.
press have been showing up during New York Fashion Week for a fake fashion show?
It was bad. It was
Totally.
bad. Yeah, it was bad. Okay. Do we just get right to it? Because this was really only about one thing.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I just feel bad for JC, the roommate. God, you got Antonia Gorga as your roommate. JC, poor JC. Bye, JC. Bye. And the kid's like, get off the phone.
Where's your
Even Antonia is
roommate?
like, oh my God. And you know that probably before Melissa and Joe probably texted her and was like, hey, we're filming.
Yeah, right. Come
We
on.
need you to answer because production wants you to talk to us and share how you're doing. And Antonia's probably like, oh, JC, I have to call my parents. They're filming the show. Just must be so awkward.
What do you think that Antonia joined the same sorority as Jen Fessler's? Sorry. Do you think that Antonia
That's how she gets when she's talking about the Gorgas.
Do you think Antonia joined the same sorority as Jen Fessler's daughter? Because they said
I don't
Jen
think they'd know
Fessler's
yet.
daughter is at Delaware.
Maybe now she'd know, but
no, now she knows. We're gonna have to find out what sorority she pledged to. You know she's in a sorority.
Yeah, but when
There's
they
no
filmed, I don't
way
think.
Antonia isn't in a
I think
sorority.
during this
Gia
time,
was in a
she
sorority,
wasn't
but
in one yet.
Gia was in a sorority. I don't think Michigan has sororities.
Of course they do.
Not all colleges have sororities.
Any college in a major athletic conference has fraternities and sororities. University of
All
Michigan.
right. Well, we're gonna have to
has
find
plenty.
out. We're gonna have to find out if Gabriella is in a sorority. I
mean,
following that stuff because Andrew was in a frat, and my daughter was in a sorority, and I kind of get a kick out of them because I didn't know much about them until I was part of that world, sort of like Jasmine. Okay, I'm gonna start calling John Fuda Paulie Fugazi, because that should be his name. He looked like Paulie from The Sopranos in that tracksuit back in the day. And he's Fugazi. I love the name Fugazi. He's Fugazi.
FYI, 5,500 current University of Michigan students are in Greek life. 5,500.
Okay, well, there's a good chance that Gabriella is in one.
Maybe.
How many kids go to Michigan? What's the total?
Know, probably
I don't
20, 30.
1,000.
It's a pretty big percentage, though.
It is a big, that is. I guess you got to be in. But
the
I
only
wonder
thing
how
I don't
much.
like about John Fugazi is like Teresa Giudice, you did not make that up on the spot. So like just claim that you had that walking in.
Well, that's okay. He had stuff. He was calling her a money launderer too. I mean, he had that stuff. I'm going to tell you, when he sat down, first of all, I had a pet peeve with John Fugazi. I love saying John Fugazi, John Fugazi, John Fugazi. John Fugazi. We need to have a loop of that, just me saying it over and over again. I bet you it would be fabulous. It did not drive the car. That irritated me.
Okay.
It irritated me. Louie drove the car. Louie
Teresa
was driving.
used to drive it for Joe Giudice when he didn't have a license.
Yes, because he went into a tree too. And I hate when a guy doesn't, like, he should have been driving his wife. Why did he not get to drive? And when they sat down and he said, I'm only doing this because your brother's a good guy. I'm thinking, yeah, you're Joe Gorga's little bitch there, Fugazi.
I think that I just
swear.
would have much rather seen the scene without Louie and without Rachel.
First of all, can we talk about, has there been any other house husband quite as thirsty as John Fugazi?
Listen, but you can flip it. Have we had any other house husband that's been attacked that has been so direct with like, I'm going to sit down and meet with you in like 25 seconds?
Yeah, but I mean, try to think of what husband is this interested in getting on TV and like, I mean, like Simon was, but Simon just wanted to have fun.
Yeah,
he
but
wasn't
wait,
about
you
making
can't compare
trouble.
to other seasons because the men are highlighted on Jersey. He doesn't need to do this to get airtime. They give them airtime every episode. what I actually look at it as is that like he's
Well, I
actually
have a
taking responsibility. I don't give it. Listen, John Fuda, I don't give a I think he's better. He's like it's similar to Rob Minkoff with Crystal. I think he's better than the wife for the show.
I totally agree. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's why I'm saying
No.
like
I'm not saying he's not bad, but he is thirsty. Whew. I can't think of anybody else who's quite as thirsty as he has been. Oh, Slade. He's right up there with Slade.
I don't know. It's
Smiley.
I can't get I
Yeah,
cannot
Slade.
give John Fuda that with the fact that Teresa legit like you though
They
you
went
like
after
Teresa,
Slade Smiley too, and he came right back
did
at
they
them.
go after Slade Smile, the mother of Slade Smiley's kid?
Oh yeah,
Which
yeah,
then
yeah.
impacted the kid?
Oh
And the kid
yeah.
was on the show?
Yeah, the kid was on the show. The kid had the brain tumor and everything. His name was
But they went
Garrison, I
after his
think.
mother who was in jail?
Well, the mother wasn't in jail.
That's what I'm saying. I think that John
But
Fuda,
there were
like,
stuff with the wife, though, and stuff.
okay,
That
but
was messy for the
so the
time.
kid has a brain tumor or whatever. John Fuda's kid is like a man almost, like going in high school. He doesn't
Yeah.
need, he didn't need it. Teresa went low and she did it to hurt John Fuda, but in turn, she hurt the kid. And I get that of why John Fuda is so annoying.
I understand that. But when you have those kind of closets, Oh, and first of all, it's funny. That was not Freudian. I want to tell you, her closet triggered me. It was so disorderly. She didn't have things by color, by fashion, by style, by season. I almost couldn't think during her closet scene because it was so unorganized. If you're having cameras come
Listen,
into your closet,
Rachel
it
Fuda
better
has an
look good.
incredible life that we should both think is amazing for her age. Please, can we give
Yeah,
her that?
but yeah, I am. But she needs her upper closet game.
I also think she's an incredible mom for her age. Like, I think that
she
she
needs
handles
to
a
up
lot.
her closet game. Listen, I've been watching reality a long time. Once you've watched the Kardashians' closets, even Bruce's closet was beautiful.
Have you seen Danielle Cabral's closet? Have you seen Jen Fessler's closet? Have you seen have we even really seen Margaret's closet? Have we seen Melissa's new closet? Like that's what I'm saying.
Well,
We don't
we saw Antonia's, and her closet was nice, and it was
I'm just
on
saying
point.
we don't see like I think there's a lot here that you're like comparing to like what they should be. And I think that for second season and as young as they are,
Yes, but she's a housewife. And we've seen New York amazing closets. We've seen
yeah, but every show has its
spectacular,
own brand.
but
I
we've
don't
seen
think Jersey's known for their
spectacular
closet.
closets in Beverly Hills and everything else.
Yeah, but that's part of their shtick.
Listen, she had a nice closet, but it was disorderly, and she needs to up her closet game. It needs to be
I just don't think she needs to. I think the Fudas are doing just fine because you're talking about them. So
no, I'm gonna send her a message and tell her she needs to up her closet game. I'd like to hashtag that, up your closet game.
Okay. I just think that like as much as I don't like them, they are showing up. They are doing everything they need to do. They are earning their paycheck. The Fudas have an A+ right now for me when it comes to their season grade. A+.
Okay, well, they got 2 tequilas when they got there. And I didn't see Louie and Teresa have anything.
That's amazing for TV.
They had San Pellegrino. And I thought about you don't really like San Pellegrino. You know what, John Fugazi, I'm sorry, his name's John Fugazi. I think his teeth are too big for his mouth. I think he got his teeth and then he lost weight and I can't figure it out. He's Uncle Fester to me. John Fugazi is Uncle Fester. These are the things. And he is Gorga's bitch. That's what I wrote down. He is.
This isn't like journalistic at all. You're so skewed with your opinions. It's not
I don't care.
funny.
I'm not trying to be.
But they're showing up like A+ stars. They are literally showing up as stars of this show.
But they're not. And when
what do you mean they're not?
These are not my rules. These are not my rules. And who said you invented the rules? Oh, I hated everything. Listen, you may feel different about when a man
I think that you can't
goes after a woman. When you may feel different when a man goes after a woman.
How did he go after her?
He went after Teresa. She did apologize.
What do you mean? He didn't go after her.
Yes, he did.
What did he do? He said, is your apology genuine? And then she said,
no. He said, I want a genuine apology. She goes, I apologize. No, I'm not apologizing again. I don't blame her. She
She
said,
did.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but I don't do that. I don't do
No.
that. I'm sorry, but.
Okay, she said, I'm sorry. No, she didn't say I'm
But.
sorry, but she
Yes,
said,
she
I'm
did.
sorry if.
I
That's
don't.
how
I don't
you
do that either.
interpreted it.
I'm sorry for. I'm sorry for hurting your feelings. I'm sorry for upsetting you. That's it.
She's not, though.
Okay.
So
I
it's
just think
not
you're too
genuine.
skewed. I just think you're too skewed.
I think you're too soft.
No, because you've even liked. No, it's not soft. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, there's
I
no
think
show
it's soft.
without both sides. So I don't know why you
Yeah,
can't
no, I
celebrate.
get that. But I don't like, listen, he triggered me when he didn't drive his wife. I want to know if he drove after those two
Okay, but
tequilas.
what
Oh,
about
and I
Louie that
want to say
pretended
one.
he owned
Oh,
Rue La La?
Louis.
Did that trigger you? Did that
I
trigger you?
thought
Last season.
Louis was going to explode sitting there. I
Yeah,
did. I
because
did
of
think
the fact that he's not in control of the situation and John Fuda was. That bothered Louis.
you know what? John Fugazi can have a problem with Louis. Rachel can have a problem with Teresa, but I do not like when husbands go after housewives. I just don't. It's not their place. And I'm not crazy when wives go after other people's
But
husband either.
going after is a different ballgame. So you're saying that they shouldn't address the situation with.
I thought that he didn't even really talk to Louis, though. He
But
talked to
Louis not the
Teresa.
one on the show talking shit.
Well, then why did he want to talk up with Louis?
Because he had respect for having her husband there.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I think
I
you're
don't
more
get it.
offended than Louis was.
I am, because he went after my tree, and I don't take that for Fugazi.
Okay, but your tree is dumber than bricks most of the time.
No, I'm going to tell you. You may think she's dumb.
She
happen
acts
to
it.
enjoy.
She acts
It's
it.
an act. It's an act. It's Teresa Giudice's act, and it served her well because she's been a housewife. She's an OG, and I love her. But I still almost love Lisa Barlow more. But I do love Teresa Giudice, and I like how she calls herself Giudice. You know, she doesn't call herself anything else. But
Teresa's amazing, but she walks into every single situation with her decision made. She won't listen to anything. That's
oh
not
my God,
anything you want to watch long term. I hate to say
maybe
it.
that's why I love her.
I guess, but you don't act that way in your own life.
Yeah, that's not true. I kind of already have my mind made up. You know that.
Not in her way. She makes things up on her own side. You go off of people's actions. Teresa goes off of what's good for Teresa. And then, like, listen, Teresa's amazing for television, but there's nothing about Teresa that we see on TV that I would ever choose to be friends with, ever in my life. And neither would you.
Really? I love Teresa. She'd be my friend.
Yeah. And then one day she would make up some fucking crazy story about you.
I don't think so. There's a lot of people. She never made up a story about Jen Aydin.
She had no reason to go after Jackie the first time.
Oh, well, I told you what I still believe what's going to come out about Jackie. It's going to be that she was fed by Marge, without a doubt.
Had nothing to do with that. Teresa came after her before regarding her and Evan.
I know, but it's okay. Well, you know what though? I would have fought fire with fire if you said that about my kid, like she said it about Gia. That was below the belt. You have to admit. Are we going to go back 5 seasons ago?
That was after she made the comment about that. No. Wait a second. Now I'm going to correct you. That does matter. Jackie's analogy about Gia was after Teresa said what she said about Evan. She still
shouldn't have brought up her kid in her mouth. That's what I think.
And I think Jackie would agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think Teresa would not. It's taken her like 3 years to admit that what she did to Jackie and Evan was wrong.
Yes. She admitted that on Watch What Happens Live. She said she was wrong about that.
Finally.
She still did.
I'm just saying that I think the Fudas are showing up like A-list reality stars. And I'm not saying I would agree with them, want to be friends with them, but it's sure better than the shit that we're seeing. They're not having a reunion. If you don't like this dynamic, then you will never see Real Housewives of New Jersey like you know it ever again.
Well, that's okay.
See, if I was Teresa and Melissa, I'd be on the phone already. We have to do the reunion. Let's call Andy together. and let's say we're willing to be around each other. We will even have a segment. You can ask us questions.
But on Watch What Happens Live, Teresa said once you see the final scene, it was like a reunion.
Andy said that, and Teresa
Yes.
agreed with her.
Yes, that's what she said. No, we got everything out there. We didn't need a reunion. She said that.
That is such a cover up for the fact that they're not having a reunion. It's not even funny. Everyone wants to see a reunion, including you, Andy Cohen.
I said they're going to be doing something different this year. Well, they never had. Listen, I will say this though, okay, because I've been watching these ladies for a long time, these housewives, ever since Vicky Gunval sent, yelled for the family van, that when they don't call a reunion, it's bad.
There's only been one, and it was New York.
New York, and they never came back.
I love it how you just teed that up with, I've been watching the show a long time. Meanwhile, that's just what everyone has been saying, and every single media outlet, even if they only saw it for 1 second.
Yeah,
but it was the only time. That's what everyone's going off of. I mean, that's the...
Yeah. I do think this show is going to be reworked too.
If they don't change.
But not because of the dynamic, because the genre has completed its cycle. A little bit.
I disagree.
Okay, you can disagree.
How can you even say that it's not because of the dynamic, based on the dynamic? Like, how do you...
I didn't hear you. You cut out.
I said, how do you even say that it's the genre when you don't know what it is based on the dynamic? Then the dynamic's a blockage. You don't even know if they could... The dynamic doesn't allow them to even talk. So it's a barrier. They don't even know how the reunion would go down. They don't know how any of that would go down. They just know they can't have it because of the man-made barrier that the Gorgas and the Judices have made.
Right. And the guy who was on Watch What Happens last night, I forget his name, who's the guest.
Joel Kim Booster.
Okay, thanks. Who is he?
He's a comedian.
Okay, and he wasn't very funny. And I wasn't.
He wasn't trying to make jokes. He was on a talk show. He wasn't doing stand-up. You just didn't like him because he was real with Teresa and he called her out a couple times.
He did call her out a couple of times.
You are so predictable.
He did. I didn't know who he was, and I still don't. I've never seen him before.
Whatever. I'm going to let our listeners drag you to filth because they all hate Teresa, so it's fine.
I know. I don't understand it, though.
Because she's a pathological liar that's been on TV for 15 years, ruining people's lives and then going, I didn't say anything bad about you.
I love Teresa.
What have I ever done to you? Oh, I don't know. You repeated an alleged story. So yeah, technically you didn't do anything to me.
She's been great for reality TV though.
Totally.
Without a doubt. You know what they said last night?
That's why I can say the Fudas are great. I don't like them. You love her and you think she's great.
Did you know last night was the 15th anniversary of Watch What Happens Live? Wasn't it?
This is the 15th year that they've had Watch What Happens Live, and she's been on the most out of any housewife.
43 times.
Have you been in a coma for about 2 weeks?
No, I've been fine. Why?
They've been talking about this everywhere for weeks.
What, that it was the 43 times she's been on?
Yes. They had the party for the 15th year anniversary of Watch What Happens Live, and at the party, like Andy's team.
When was the party?
Last week.
Oh, was it like, was everybody there?
Anyone that had been on Watch What Happens Live more than 5 times, maybe, or something like that.
So who was
10
there?
times.
Who was there?
Melissa, Teresa. There was a bunch of people
on the outs who he doesn't talk to, like Ramona's been on more than 5 times. Was she there?
Ramona's not on the outs with Andy.
Well, she is. She kicked her off because.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Don't look at me like that.
What did he kick her off?
She is the reason they rebooted because she was off the chain. Yeah, let's not.
Why did he bring her on Ultimate Girls Trip if he hates her so much?
Because she's good for TV.
He has Avery on Watch What Happens Live all the time with Batch Boss.
Okay, all right. Okay, so who else was just? So just tell me who was on. Was Jill?
Jill was there. It was a party. There were some photos. I don't know.
I'm gonna look. Jill Zarin got a facelift this week.
Okay.
I just want you to know she's journaling it on Instagram. And she said she had fat transfer. She had fat sucked out somewhere and put in her hands. And that was the most painful part of her facelift. So if I come on here sometime and I had a facelift, can I wear my bandages? Because I've thought about
I
getting
don't know,
one.
but that's how we'll end. The mess for this week is on.
No, we didn't.
And, and
Okay, no, we're not done. So at the end
we're on
of
40 minutes.
okay, we're at the end of this episode, when Fugazi said, walked out and she said, drug dealer, and he said, "Da, da, 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 I'm coming at you good. I like it, but it said to be continued. Do you think that this scene isn't over? Or is it
Of course,
meaning
there's the line that Teresa said in the trailer, that was my husband, blah, 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 blah. She never said that yet.
oh, you think they come back? There's more.
I
It did say to be continued, but I thought they were leaving. That's where it gets me confused.
I don't know.
Okay, who's your
I
mess?
just
Well, we know
you,
me.
because you can't have such allegiance to Teresa
Why?
because you host a show where we're supposed to talk about the cast and you're like, you can't just like, it's like Rachel breathed, fuck her. She breathed. Like, Fuda doesn't even have any oxygen. What do you mean? How can
No,
she
it's
breathe?
Fugazi. I'm calling him Fugazi.
I'm just
All
saying,
right.
yeah, Teresa's a mess. That's why she's been on TV for this long and amazing. It's because she's a disaster.
Okay. All right. I
That's
don't
all
know
I'm
who my
saying.
mess is. According to Andrew, it's me. I wasn't on
I
the
mean,
show.
listen, I don't know if there really was a mess per
It
se.
wasn't too messy, is what I'm saying. It
Yeah, there wasn't.
Marge. I can blame Marge again because she's a terrible driver.
There you go. There you go.
It's Marge. I'm gonna have every week. It's defaults to Marge.
Love you
All right,
guys.
everybody, follow us on Instagram at Aunt and Andrew and subscribe, like us, because you never want to miss this.